Hello and welcome. It is 11:30. It is the 7th day of Jingle Jam Vlogmas Christmas December. And today we're taking a look at one of the only Pathfinder modules I own, other than, I don't know. I have PDFs of Kingslayer and Giant Slayer, Kingmaker and Giant Slayer, because they're both just great. But I have this hard copy of The Dragon Demands. And when we were talking yesterday about mashing adventures together with Storm King's Thunder, I have in the past mashed this together with Storm King's Thunder G1, G3, because it's such an interesting plot. The only downside of this little super adventure is it's 63 pages, and it tries to slam way too much information into 63 pages. There's a lot of chunks in here that you could just be like, why is that here? I don't really, that's space that could have, there's unnecessary art that wastes space. There's a lot of wasted space that could have been something else, that could have gone more towards just the idea of the adventure and building the adventure around this idea of a dragon blackmailing a town. So what I liked about this when I first read it, other than I had some players who really wanted to do something where they got to slay a dragon. I saw this, I was like, oh, it's dragon centric, I'll pick it up. Is that it explores an idea that I've often thought wasn't explored enough. In adventures, it's like, what happens after the adventure? What's the adventure after the adventure? Like, this assumes that there was like an adventure before this adventure, and that adventure happened. And the heroes came through and did adventure stuff, dealt with a dragon, left, consequences of their actions, built up, a town through trade, and, did whatever it is adventurers do when they've, retired. I'll build a tower. I'll build an inn. I'll build a sandwich shop. I'm going to leave you all because I secretly hate you. We're going to go found our druid grove. I'm going to go to the mountains and, whatever. So it assumes that happened. It assumes that there was a adventure before this adventure. You ran that adventure. Things happened. And now this town has to deal with the consequences of what happened before and how it affects the shape of the town and the shape of the area around it. Like, the mayor of the town hates the wizard's tower. There's a wizard's tower. It was built by one of the adventurers. He thinks it's an eyesore. It's right in the way of property he wants to claim for his expansion. He thinks the town could, get bigger and get in more trade, but there's this horrible eyesore wizard's tower. There's this horrible mine that the adventurers left just abandoned, and you can't go in because it's just filled with dragon filth, and there's just huge sections. So it starts with the idea that this already happened. Adventurers came through, they built towers, they dealt with a dungeon, they cleared out the dragon horde, they stole a bunch of stuff, they pissed off a bunch of factions, and then they do what all adventurers always do. They either stayed behind and invested their money and built a tower like the wizard, or built a bar or whatever, or they left. And then what happens after? What happens 5-10 years after, when all the bad guys have had a chance to recover from the adventures going through and start percolating, and what if the dragon wasn't slain? You didn't bring back its head. You say you killed it, and you say, well, we lost it in a landslide. It had to be dead. It fell in the lava. It had to be dead. We did 10,000 points of damage to it and left its body laying there and stole all its stuff. It had to be dead. But is it really? What if the adventure, the village has already got this mythology of the dragon. Then you come in and you claim you slay the dragon, and then you leave. Well, that mythology is still built into the fiber of the village because they lived in fear of the dragon for so long, and they don't really have any proof. So those are the two things that make this adventure really unique. It's one of the very few adventures I've ever seen that explores the idea of what happens after. What is the response to the player's activity in the previous module? Let's assume this adventure happened, they left, and now let's start 5-10 years down the road, and things are percolating, and the things are percolating because of what they did. So 5-10 years down the road, suddenly there's kobolds being seen again. Suddenly people are claiming they heard noises in the night that sounded like flapping of wings. Suddenly this woman is claiming that somebody attacked all her prized chickens. And then another farmer is claiming, oh, well, somebody took my prized pig, and it was her because she's always been jealous of my prized pig. And she's all like, no, you've always been jealous of my prized chicken. You took my prized chicken. And then you have to resolve that, and you have to resolve the kobolds, and you have to resolve who knocked down the wizard's tower and where is the wizard. And slowly these things start coming in, and then you get to the meat of the adventure, which is, oh, maybe the dragon's not dead, because there's this guy who says he saw the dragon, and there's another guy who comes to the village and says, look, if you don't pay the dragon's protection money, it's gonna start attacking the village. It already took a pig and some chickens and killed some villagers and destroyed that tower. So slowly the adventure starts building up that oh, well, maybe the adventurers from 10 years ago didn't kill the dragon, and now the dragon's come back. It's regained its forces. It's been percolating. It's been planning, and now it's coming back. And if you don't do what it wants, it's just great. And it's also great because it fits in really well to other adventures. Like, speaking about fitting it in to Storm King's Thunder, and the idea that, well, what if I change a dragon to giants? Or what if I change the giants to dragons? And what if I say, oh, 10 years ago, giants or a dragon attacked, and now there's rumors of giants or dragon or whatever attacking again. So it's a very interesting plot. I really liked it. So I've run it as is. I've run it mashed together with Giant Slayer / Storm King Thunder, because what I usually like to do is mash together Pathfinder's Giant Slayer with Storm King Thunder, because they're basically both homages to G1, G2, G3. So there's the supposedly dead dragon back from the dead going, ha ha ha, you didn't kill me after all, bastards, or did you? Maybe I'm a ghost, you don't know. So I like it. The only problem, like I said, is it's a super adventure. It's supposed to get you from level 1 to, like, I think a level 11, 64 pages. It's got this cool map of the town, but it crams too much information into this teeny book. Like, there's new monsters that doesn't need to be in there. There's pages on the NPCs and the town that doesn't need to be in there. There's some unnecessary fights that doesn't need to be in there. A lot of unnecessary lore that doesn't really need to be in there. A side adventure that, just sort of wastes space. It's a lot of information for 64 pages, which could have been, whatever. But it's a great adventure. Pick it up. I think it's $22, whatever. But I love it that I can also, if I ever run Storm King's Thunder again, I can easily just put this adventure in with it and do this whole theme of, well, this happened, and now these are the consequences. And again, this is what I love this adventure, because it's one of the few that starts with the premise, a previous adventure already happened. What are the repercussions of what the previous group of characters did 5 years ago? How is the world reacting? How is the environment reacting? How are the monsters that got left behind reacting? How does the city react to whatever it is the player characters did? And now they're dealing 5 years later with the consequences of the actions of the previous adventurers. And that's what I really like about this adventure. So there we go. Next episode, we'll talk about how I mashed together Giant Slayer with Storm King's Thunder and which plot points from the two I take, or I won't, I don't know. Depends. Comment down below and let me know if you want to hear more on this content. Comment down below and let me know if you don't want to hear more on this content. Comment down below and let me know how you're spending the holidays. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, please take a moment to subscribe and help me hit 250 subs by the end of the year. It helps you know what's going on with the OGGM adventures and helps me know what direction I should take the channel in 2021. Because this is my only job. So I would like to someday actually find a way to make a living off of this waste of my time. I will talk to you bah humbugs later.